Hi everyone, welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to see how you can document your APIs, folder, and collection. Bruno provides you three different levels of documentation where you can document your APIs, you can document your folder, add more information about environments, how it works, same as for the collection level. As well as we are going to see a code generator, how Bruno helps you to generate your code for your particular request, and how you can use that for your curl, for your JavaScript. Bruno provides a bunch of options while generating a code, and how it works we are going to see both functionality in this video. So let's get started with the API documentation. As you can see in the documentation where we mentioned that you can document a request, folder, and collection. So let's start with the request and let's see how you can document your request. Then as you can see in the screenshot, you have a particular request, and if you go to docs, which is a particular section, specific section for the documentation, you can add your documentation there. Same for the collection and folder. So each level documentation has a separate section called docs where you can add your documentation for request, folder, and collection. So let's see in Bruno how it actually works. I have this Bruno window open, and if I open my collection, which is Echo Bruno, and I have this request, I don't have any folder here. So let's quickly add a folder to see how API documentation works at folder level. So I will just simply say API folder, or just keep it as a API. And I have just created API. I will just move this request to that folder and just make it things easy and simple. So I have this collection level settings where if you go to docs and if you click on this edit button, which is a pencil icon, you can say, and you can write your documentation here. So Bruno provides you a Markdown support to write your documentation. So you can add your Markdown content here to document your collection level API to add collection level information. So I have this API documentation. I will say base URL. I have this base URL called. I will save this and I will go to here and I will say like this is my base URL. If I go to collection and if I click on this icon, add here, save this, it will showing me that information, and you can add more information just like all the environments that you have, table formatted and all this stuff. I will just quickly create a markdown from ChatGPT. This is the base URL, this is the auth token, and this is the tips that you can use docs.md file in which folder provides a deeper content. We don't have that, but yeah. This is a UI which you have to use, and this is a markdown format or different elements, you can say different tags, just like this is have h1, h2, h3. This is the HR, this is the tip. So we have added this information at collection level, and we have just mentioned that this is a collection, this is about something about collection, this is my backend API, this is the base URL that every user have to use, and environment is like base URL or token. So API documentation plays a very important role for organization level or as an individual as well, because if someone new developer would join your organization and they want to work with code base and work with APIs, you have to provide a valuable resources to them, and Bruno helps you to document that APIs and a centralized repo where all your APIs will be there and have a centralized documentation through this brew file, so everyone can read this documentation. Once you fetch that repo inside a Bruno from, you can just clone the import a collection from clone a git repository, and your git repository you will create a separate folder or part of Bruno folder, Bruno collection, and you can add this documentation so everyone will get a centralized documentation to access. So this is a collection level documentation. That's how it works, and I will just simply just copy the same thing. So you don't need to write a markdown again and again. And if you go to settings here and you have a docs tab and you can edit this icon, you can just simply say this is my my API collection, or you can say my folder level docs, and you can click on save. And once you do that, this is turned into folder level docs. We are using same information which you use at collection level, just like collection, base URL, and all this information. So once you've done that, you go to request, and if you want to document a request, which is a highly important job for anyone who want to work with APIs, or for the person who are maintaining the docs for the APIs, for them it's an important role to document the API, because you want to give the more context to all the developers, all the QA engineers, or the users of your API, how to use this from the request level documentation. So I will say request level docs, and I will click on save. Click on edit, and it will save for you. And this is how you can see the request level documentation works. You can add a table, you can use this H2, H3 things which you use in Markdown. You can use tape. You can use this table. You can use this note. What are the other things that we use? You can use this code snippet just like a backtick to uh, turn your normal text or API, just some like a code variables into a code. So you can turn that into a backticks. For the people who know the Markdown, they can easily figure out. For the people who don't know Markdown, you can check out the documentation online. It's easy stuff. Markdown is simple stuff that you can learn. And yeah, that's how the API documentation works in Bruno at collection level, folder level, and request level. And the important thing is at the documentation, for the collection level, you explain the global information that everyone is going to use, just like a base URL is going to ecobruno.com, and from this point anyone will go to post or something just like endpoint, but the base URL is going to be a same, just like echo use Bruno. Just for the example, so this is going to be a main base URL. So that's why you have to add a global level information that everyone going to use at the collection level. At the folder level, you can create a different folders and you can mention that this folder have the particular request, and that request is expecting this is from the user, and etc information, and you'll add that information inside a folder level docs which is relevant for this request which is inside into that particular folder. You can create a multiple folders, you can add a multiple folder level docs. And in the request specifically, it's, as I already mentioned, it's important. So in the request level, you have to add every details that this request or this API is needed, just like a particular request have a particular endpoint, and if someone is using a particular variable here, just like a env which is coming from this particular environment or something, so you have to specify everything here, that go to environment, click on this, take this particular environment variables and just add it here, and that's how its API will work. So it's very important that you will mention everything here at the request level to a particular specific information to that request, not collection or folder level. So that's how you just categorize different documentation at different levels, like collection, folder, and request. And I highly recommend that add for the request level, add every detail that particular person is, a particular user is going to need for that particular API to work. So this is how the API documentation works inside Bruno. Now let's see the code generator, how code generator works. So simple stuff, we'll execute this request and we will get all this information. So once you click on this generator code option, just like this code snippet close bracket which you use in HTML. So once you hover it will show you the generate code, and you will get a bunch of option, like now is a curl. So once you copy that and you can run on a terminal, so it will give the same response which you are receiving in the response tab. So if you want to use this for the C, if you want to use this for a JavaScript, I want to use this for a JavaScript fetch. So this is the fetch syntax which you're going to use, and this is for the JavaScript Axios, which is a popular, and which is, for me, it's JavaScript and Axios, which is what I'm most familiar with. So if you go to Node.js request, native, and in the node, the Axios request is look like this. Also the PHP is something that I use, which I like. And for the Python 3, how it's going to look like. So this is Python 3 code and bunch of stuff. So you will get a bunch of list, whether you are working as a JavaScript developer, Java, Python, Ruby, whatever it is. So you click on generate code, you want to generate a code for that particular request, and you get that code from here and use according to that. So this is a tool which is important feature when it comes to maintaining your API documentation and generating code for that. You can use the generated code as a curl, which is widely used tool for among the developers to testing APIs on the terminal and just quickly test the endpoint. So you can check that, or you can use that curl commands in the documentation as well to give better clarity for the users. So this is the two features which is highly important, which I want to show how you can use that inside of Bruno. And yeah, that's how it works. Feel free to explore this and share your feedback in the comment, and feel free to join a Discord server. If you have any question, just join Discord server, post it there. There are more than 2,000 people who are available there to interact with you and give the answer. Bruno community is growing, and be a part of that. And thanks for tuning this video. In the next video.